Alright, quick update on FTX token. So this is starting to look very nice in my opinion. We're seeing continuation since our last video. In the macro term, or not the macro term, more of the midterm impulse that we just put in from the bottom, we've back tested our 786 fib. In terms of our more macro low, I mean this is the most macro low that I can draw to as of the moment. You can see we're holding our 618 fib. We've just pushed above the 0.5 fib, and we're currently finding a small bit of resistance at the 382 Fibonacci, which also ties in with our daily EMA ribbon. So we're seeing a tiny bit of resistance coming in at approximately $44.85. I'm just going to call it 45 for the rest of this video to make it a little bit easier. But I'm liking the setup that we're seeing. I'm going to point out a few things that I see. Number one, while this is slightly ugly, we do have a perfectly valid and very, very nice, in my opinion, I mean, it's kind of ugly but beautiful at the same time. It's a weird one. Do you understand what I mean? It's ugly and beautiful at the same time. I mean, it would be beautiful if it didn't have these big impulses in terms of the wicks. But if we're just drawing this in terms of the candles, then this is a real perfect W, if I do say so. So we are about to break out at the top of this, or I don't want to say we are about to. We are looking like we're about to break to the top of this. I highlighted this in my previous video, not the W pattern, but the fact that we're seeing an increase in volume over the past couple of days. And in the past week, 17th of April, we had a huge influx of volume. Today, on the 25th of April, we're having a big influx of volume. We can see we're up 4.3% on the day. Nothing crazy, but it is starting to look pretty good. We are gearing up for this breakout of the W pattern. If we take a measured move price target, not drawing it from the wick down there, because then that would be acknowledging that this ugly thing exists. We would be seeing an impulse up to $48.55. If we come down to the lower time frames, you can see that would put us nicely above the 200-day moving average. Oh my, yeah, I mean, look at the volume that we saw come in the last 4-hourly candle. The volume alone managed to carry the momentum back over to the bullish side for the bulls. So I'm really liking what we're seeing here. We are having this volume coming in as we are pumping above the 4-hourly EMAs. This is a really good sign in my opinion. You can see temporarily in the last 4 hours we are finding a little bit of resistance at that $45 region. So keep an eye on that. If you're watching this video and we've already broken $45, then keep your eyes on $48.50 in my opinion. Now, if we look at this since the most recent bottom, I don't think there's a perfect linear line that you can use to define this uptrend, but nonetheless, something like this is very valid. I will be removing it in just a moment, but you can see, I mean, this is very, very valid, and you could almost argue, let me see here how nicely this would line up. Yeah, you could definitely argue that we're also putting in something like an asymmetrical triangle. Bear in mind we have had a fake out to the upside of this. This does not invalidate the fact that this is a perfect asymmetrical triangle. You can see we've been bouncing, converging between support and resistance. We had a fake out here, we came right back into the triangle, and very interestingly we bottomed exactly where the triangle bottom is really. I mean, we had a quick wick down to the 618, but all of your candle closes are right on this triangle pattern. So very, very interesting stuff we're seeing right here. I'm actually going to keep this triangle because I do think this would be a very, very nice thing to see us break out of. So if we see a break above the neckline of the W pattern, we would be breaking above $45. This would carry us up to $48. That would put us above the daily EMA ribbons. That would have us breaking out of this asymmetrical triangle. And that would literally take out the last Fibonacci that we have in terms of this local fib. Now, let's see what else we have to run off in the short term. So, all-time high to low. Let's see where we need to get above. So, I mean, in the macro term, we still have a long way to go. We're literally only at the first fib. I would argue there wouldn't be much resistance. There's a lot of volume traded around this 0.5. As you can see, there's not much volume traded beneath these levels. You can kind of see there's a ton of volume traded here. Then there's volume traded all around this region. And then you can see there's a gap here, and then volume only gets traded in this region. So in this area here, I mean, this is a very ugly drawing, but this orange line here, there's almost no volume traded in that region, so I think that we would almost slide through it like butter, which is why personally, I normally do target the 618. I am the 618 cowboy, but nonetheless, I would personally have my eyes on the 0.5, as this was a key area of resistance and support multiple times. There's a lot of volume traded around here, and this was also where we fired our daily EMAs bearish. I think there's a lot of confluence up here that I would like to see us come back up to. So, in my opinion, if we do have a solid breakout, now I'm not talking about the very, very short term, the breakout of this W pattern, I'm really talking about the breakout of this asymmetrical triangle, putting us back above your 200-day moving average. Once we get above there, have a weekly close, because this is a very, very macro pattern that we've got going on right now. You can see we had a couple of daily closes before above here. If we come over to the weekly, you can see we had a weekly, but it was a failed retest. So I don't think it'd be enough to see a daily candle above the top of this. Nonetheless, if we do see a breakout of the asymmetrical triangle, in my opinion, a 28% rally would be on the way for FTX token. Now, I'm really liking the setup of this. In the very, very macro term, like this is more of a midterm fib that we're drawing off. But from our absolute macro fib, from the start of the rally to the all-time high, the 618, that is your most important region to get above. Your 0.5 Fibonacci, that is your second most important region to get above. And then, in my opinion, there is only one other level which is slightly less important than those, and that is not when you're drawing from low to high, it is where you're drawing from high to low and then taking out the 618. So from low to high, we needed to take out the 618 and the 0.5. Check mark on the 618, we've taken that out. After we take out the 0.5 from low to high, we need to take out the 618 from high to low. There is nothing in the way of the all-time high up here at $85 once we get above 64. So I'm really liking the setup we're seeing right now. You can see that 0.5 fib is basically right on top of our head. So if we do have a breakout of this W pattern, we will be moving up a fib. I think this will be very, very good. And like I highlighted in the last video, the squeeze mom is having a momentum shift. As you can see, we had a momentum shift on the 31st of March. If we look where the bulls started to lose control on the 31st of March, we were right here at $51. The momentum shift topped out of the bottom down here on the 17th of April. I mean, I'm not going to cherry pick and draw it to this low on the 18th because it called it on the 17th. So I'm actually going to draw it down to here. You can see we had an 18% shift to the downside. And like I've been highlighting, we're only just starting this next momentum shift that is going to be in favor of the bulls. So keep your eyes on this. I think we're about to see a big, big rally coming for FTX in the next days to weeks. And then if we focus on the months, if we do manage to have continuation, put in weekly closes above $47, I think 49 or rather $64 up here at your 618, that would personally be my next target. And then after we take out that, the all-time high. So I love the setup of FTX. The MFI recently bottomed at 20, and it normally does always bottom at 20, so this is a good sign. RSI's had a healthy bottom down here at 35, a nice double test of the previous bottom. So I'm really liking what we're seeing. Bulls are taking control of the time frames. We're gearing for a break up to this asymmetrical triangle. We're about to break above the 0.5 Fibonacci at $45. A break above $45 would mean a breakout of this W pattern, which should hopefully carry us above the 200-day, which would put us halfway between your 0.5 Fibonacci and your 382, and would leave us one step closer to your 0.5 fib up here at $58. So a lot of price levels to take in today. There is a lot of stuff going on in this chart, so yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Once again, best of luck if you're in FTX. None of this is financial advice. This is just my opinion on the market, and you have always got to do what's best for you. Cowboy out. Peace.